Hello and welcome to the first ever Peave and Cronnie show. This is our weekly podcast, just based around our thoughts and opinions on stuff in the news, what we're watching, what we're playing, kind of stuff like that. Anyway, I'm Peave.
I'm Cronnie. It's going to be a weekly podcast, isn't it? About basically what we've seen we like of the past week, but this week's going to be more based on how Blue Team Media and how we came about, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and kind of like what our goal is as well, like what we're hoping to produce and where we like to go to. Hopefully, you'll find it interesting, maybe a little bit funny at times. Probably less funny, more interesting. But who knows? If you want the really funny bit, this is attempt number 2 because one of us can't hit record, not naming anyone's names.
No, we're hoping we're going to offer an interesting perspective on things, aren't we? Because we're certainly not the best gamers in the world.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
We're certainly not the youngest.
Yeah, age comes experience. But see, when I was when I was writing the little blog thing for who we were on one of the Facebook or the Twitters, one of the other. I don't remember which one it was. The fact that I called it the Twitters tells you how old we actually are. I was like, with over 50 years of gaming experience between us, and that wasn't an exaggeration.
No, it's not. It's not.
That really sucks. I feel really old now.
My first game playing was an old Spectrum Sinclair. It was a Football Manager game, and used to put the cassette in, and it sounded like. Do you remember when you used to pick the phone up on the old modems when internet first came a thing?
But
that's how it loaded.
My first game would have been on the Atari. I don't know which Atari. It had floppy disks. And there was a couple of games. There was this Commando game, which might have actually been called Commando or something along those lines, but I kind of vaguely remember. But if we're going to go right back to the first games I remember, it was me getting beaten repeatedly by my brother on Street Fighter 2 using a joystick.
The first time sort of mainstream game that I remember playing was River Raid on the Atari 2600. That game was amazing. And then as you grow older and you start going around your friends' houses and things like that, I had a friend who had a Commodore Amiga 64 the Commodore 64, and he had a game on there called Moonstone. That game was so ahead of its time. It was amazing. So you basically played as a knight, and you'd have a map, which was the world, and you would walk across this world. Now, when I say walk across it, you basically moved your avatar, which was your knight's head, across the map, or it might have been his shield emblem or something like that. And you move it across the map, and that shows you where you move into, and you'd move it to certain sections on the map, and then you'd enter those sections, and it become a fight then, where you fight hairy dogs or monsters or other knights and stuff like that. And it was really gory. You'd have blood and stuff like that. It was brilliant.
You mean pixels? You had basic pistols.
Oh, honestly, if anyone's watching this now, just when you're finished watching this video, go and type in Moonstone on the search bar and just see that gameplay, because it was brilliant. It was such good fun.
Yeah, I mean, we're both old enough that we remember video games before there was video game classifications. Obviously Mortal Kombat, which is kind of famous for introducing video game classifications. We're that old that I remember playing the original Mortal Kombat. I also remember, I don't know how old I'd have been. It wouldn't have been. I was definitely not old enough to do this, but I remember walking into what would have been a PC World or a Curry's or something like that. and buying by myself, might I add, like a copy of GTA, like the original. You know, when
Wow.
no one took them seriously. Like they had little age ratings on them, but no one remembers.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
because
was
that was the first one that everybody wanted, really. GTA was like the first. Now, when would that have been? I was in school. I was in high school at that point, so I would guess it was about 97, 96, 97.
I can look it up. Give me 2
GTA.
seconds. But yeah, no, I walked in and I purchased GTA with the original one, and then kind of went from there. I remember buying it, and then everyone wanted to come around to my house. GTA. So when was the first GTA? Yeah, 97. First released 28th November 97. So
Wow.
now I feel extra old.
I was getting ready to do my final exams then.
That was my first kind of big game, like that everyone wanted to come around to my house to play. I'd had like Tekken and stuff like that before that, but GTA was kind of like, I can't believe it, they're swearing in this game.
Yeah.
I also remember playing the original Metal Gear Solid on the PS1, and I remember them saying "damn" and words like that. I was going to go into a bit more detail, some of the other words, but trying to keep this family friendly where I can, until I just slip up in about 4 episodes time. And all of a sudden it becomes a Peave and profanity show. But yeah, and then me and you started playing games. What, 2004?
It would have been
Late.
It'd been
Late
on the
04?
board of the 360 being released. It was just before in fact, it was just before the 360 being released. I remember we were playing Halo 2, obviously,
So that
introduced
leads
to each other by our mutual friend.
our mutual friends, of which we will not name. Yeah, so that would have been what, late 04, very early 05. The
Yeah,
360 launched November.
I remember us getting it. Obviously, there was waiting list for the 360, and I remember us getting ours before anyone else in Team Canon at the time.
Which was our gaming, like, kind of clan, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's basically what it was when Halo 2 had the clans, didn't it?
It was the let's be honest, every single kid that's ever played any competitive game ever, or every single like young adult that's ever played a competitive game ever, you think you're the best at it. Okay, yeah. You are definitely think you're the best of it. You guys are gonna make it, and you created your own little like team, whatever you were. So yeah,
I genuinely believe that the 4 of us that used to play Halo 2 at the time, with the team of 4 that we had, solid, gas, plasma, and liquid, and you were just there, Peave.
I've been Peave since day one. I will always be Peave.
TC Peave. When it was the 4 core players, yourself included in that, I genuinely believe that if cheating wasn't so rife in Halo 2 at the time, that the 4 of us would have got up to rank 50 easily.
It's the only Halo game I've not hit max rank on.
Yeah, I think we would have got there.
It's the only one that I didn't hit max rank on.
We used to sort of peter around level 38 to 40, didn't we?
Yeah, but the kind of like, people complain about cheaters in games now. I've never seen such outright cheating.
Yeah,
like that. I remember playing Terminal and spawning in the sky in like an invisible box with a guy stood in front of me with a sniper rifle that was fully automatic, and just go constantly. I just killed our entire team, and every time we spawned, he just right through us all because it shot through people and everything.
On turf, you're just like constantly spawn inside the garage on turf, and it's like, oh right, I'm dead again. Oh right, I'm dead again.
Yeah, which is funny because we talk about that, but if you're honest, it's probably your favorite game of all time.
Absolutely. I don't think I've had as much fun playing an online game as I have with Halo 2. It just ticks all the right boxes. And even though it was just a little number that you were going, it was something that, and even though we in our heart of hearts knew we would never get past level sort of 42. I think that was the highest we peaked at, 42 or maybe 44. I can't quite remember.
But you always just picked up the controller and carried on trying.
But
because there was a number that could move up.
Yeah, we always tried. And like that's something that's missing from Infinite now. I don't care if people want to cheat and stuff like that, because it's like that age-old saying, in it, you're only cheating yourself. But it's just the fact that you can try to better yourself, and you can try to go for that number, and it doesn't exist anymore in Infinite.
It doesn't exist anymore in any game. No game has that little number kind of ticking down thing. Like, you get close to it. Like, Infinite does an attempt at it with their ranking system, but there is no reason. Like, you get to Onyx, you got your little like emblem, you get your little dangly recon helmet, or whatever it was last season. But that's not even the end, because they want you to keep playing and increase the number, like Onyx number, blah, 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 blah. There is no definitive, like, this is where I want to get to. Yeah. Once you hit 50, that should be the end of your journey. But that journey should be so difficult that hitting 50 in itself is like your arms in the air, like, whoa, this is amazing. I can't believe it. If I hit level 50 on Halo 2, I think I'd have stopped playing. I actually think I'd have turned off the game. Not because, like, I was done, but because there was no way that's going back down. Yeah. I loved Halo 2.
Didn't you used to get a Halo ring, or was that Halo 3? I thought it was Halo 3 where you got the Halo ring, wasn't it?
Halo 2 did it as well. Halo 2 did it the last couple of ranks. But I remember like that, and then I mean, you were slightly older at your time of playing Halo 2. Not significantly older, but a little bit older. So, like, for me, although that's your definitive online game, I've played many games where I would be like, that was awesome. That was awesome. I guess I'd have been about the same age you were when you played Halo 2, when I played Call of Duty 4.
I've had games that I do think were awesome, but the only one that kept me coming back to it was Halo 2. I mean, the Battlefield Modern Combat game, we used to love that game, man. Me and you and our little squad there, and hiding in the shrubberies and stuff like that.
Playing C4 on helicopters and just watching them fly away.
Helicopters, they were brilliant times. And in actual fact, that was part of the breakaway, wasn't it? Really, that was why we stopped playing with our mutual friend, because you and I were willing to play other games, which I think is what we're hoping our channel is going to do. It's we're not just focused on one game. We have got a wide plethora of games that we like to play and that we will try. For example, I'm quite into my racing games, aren't I? But the other week we found a racing game that we both could have a happy balance on, which was Project Cars 3.
Yeah.
Which
the other week I was going through my purchase history to find out how many games I bought this year, and we bought that in March. It's now July, so it's not quite the other week. But when you get this old, everything is the other week. I remember the other day when Oblivion came out, 2006.
Yeah, so it's, I'm just repositioning myself. Yeah, so it's we do like to play other games, like, and there's games that you will always beat me on. There's games that I will always beat you on.
Cool. But 3 games you'll beat me on. Go.
Project Cars.
You didn't beat me every time on Project Cars. Don't say your nonsense.
All right, Forza.
Okay. Yeah, Forza Motorsport, not Horizon.
Forza. Destiny. I used to beat you on Destiny.
Okay. You realise this is now going to be Peave versus Cronnie. That's going to be the next show, which is going to be me and you having one-on-ones on games to prove that I'm definitively better. PGR3, we were equal. Though I wouldn't have played PGR3 if I was losing every time. I cannot lose every time. I
used to lift off.
Yeah, sure you did. No, I am hyper competitive in nature. There's not a chance that I would play any game that I was consistently losing at.
No, I'm hyper competitive. I hate losing. I can't stand it. But the
Do you know
fact
what?
is, we
Do you know
we've
what I
both
hate more than
games.
losing though? Sorry.
Go on.
What I hate more than losing is when you lose because someone else on your team just wasn't very good. Like when you do everything right, and then you've
Yeah.
got like, I don't know, your mom 69 running around in the background, being like, how does I do this? And just like licking the wall. You know what I mean? Noob Master. To do your Avengers reference.
Well,
Um,
that's how the Peave and Cronnie show came about, isn't it? Because we used to like we've called this podcast the Peave and Cronnie show, but it used to be a case of we used to play games with each other, didn't we? And we would be in with teams, particularly Halo 2. Battlefield was one of them. Where
and probably right up until about Halo 4, I'd say.
yeah, where we would be losing games really badly, and then we just kind of felt like we just switched it on, and it was like me and you versus everyone in the lobby, and we'd end up winning games off the back of it. It's like we obviously felt like gods at the time, and we are the best players in the world. And we used to have a little theme tune, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. The Peeve and Cronnie show theme tune.
Cronnie show.
Because I've always sounded my own trumpet.
So, yeah, I suppose everyone. I suppose everyone at some point will feel like they are the god of gaming. You will find somewhere in the spectrum of what you're playing that at that moment in time, no one can beat him. We used to have quite good fun like that. We used to get quite a lot, especially in Battlefield 2. Battlefield Modern Combat, whatever it was called. That was definitely one of them.
See, you talk about this feeling like the god of gaming, right? And that's something that, like, over the years since obviously this all happened, they've kind of they started kind of mastering that as like part of the feature. It's one of the reasons why Call of Duty is so popular, is because they discovered the way of making you the god of gaming. Because
Yeah.
you ask anyone that's had a nuke on any Call of Duty game how many people they actually shot, and I guarantee that the number is less than 10, because almost all of it was done with a chopper and a Harrier airstrike and my teammates just kept running out and dying for me so that I could see exactly where they were and whatever other add-on that they've used. But the people that are getting nukes and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that no one can do it, just shooting people, but yeah.
Oh yeah, there's definitely people out there. I mean, there's a YouTuber called Mint Blitz who does little short Halo videos, and some of these snipes and stuff like that, and his gameplay on like Halo, well, anything from Halo 2 right the way through Halo Infinite, it's like that's good.
But he's also in Australia, so he's playing on like 200 ping, which makes it twice as impressive. Because he like launches himself into the air, holding on to a like with a grappling hook on the back of a blown up mongoose, flying through the sky, 360 no scope somebody in the face with a sniper rifle, lands like it's nothing, and was like, like.
All the while he's got 200 ping because he's in Australia.
Yeah, and he's complaining that he can't find anyone to play with. And it's like, he's got the worst kind of setup on the planet, because not only does he have a really terrible connection, but his skill rating must be ridiculously high as well.
Yeah.
So his like pool of players he can match with is about 12.
See, when sort of like professional gaming and YouTube gaming and what have you first started, it was for us, it was MLG, wasn't it? And the ogres were the big guys at the time, weren't they, on Halo 2? And looking at Mint Blitz's videos, yes, granted, we probably see more of them now. He is probably a better game than what the ogres ever were, and they were like the benchmark, weren't they, back in the day?
I to be fair, I'd say yes, but I'm also going to say that there's something about flashy kills that just always makes me be like, yeah, but how many times, like, to get every one of these flashy kills requires somebody else to be just being a little bit brain dead. Like, you're 360 no scoping someone. I bet you can't 360 no scope someone that's actually expecting someone to try and 360 no scope them.
True.
You know what I mean? Yeah, okay. So I've seen him get like catastrophes or killionaires or whatever with sniper rifles, and I'm just kind of like, not a single one of the enemy team looked at you. every single time. Like their friends are dying around them and they're just running, like staring
Yeah.
forward. Like if those players had turned and tried to even shoot at him and he popped out of his scope once with a single shot, right? Would that not have just ruined that entire thing for him? How quickly could he have got back into there? I mean, maybe I'm just slightly jealous. I don't know.
There's probably an element of jealousy comes into it. I mean, in all fairness, nowadays at my age, I couldn't get a killing air in a small square room with a sword and no one's got a weapon.
Still ends up sticking himself somehow.
I was literally like, throw a sticky grenade. Shit.
Some of the stuff though, when you like think back to like your Halo 2 days, I remember when they talked about introducing a kill camera for Halo. Was it Halo 4 they introduced a kill camera? I remember them talking about introducing it and me being genuinely worried I was going to get banned because I quite often like used to like kind of not blind throw, but like I'd throw grenades in a way that like people wouldn't expect you to throw it, and I was really, really often getting sticks from the other side of the map by just bouncing them as lucky sticky grenades.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like the grenades where like if you don't see the radar, then of the player that's thrown it, say if you've just got their kill cam and nothing else, how are they going to know that I knew that they were there? Like how much footage are you going to get? Because you can time people almost like when they run into like little rooms and stuff, you can time how long it's going to take them to get through that corridor and come out the other side, and then kind of get the sticky grenade so that as they come out, it's just like.
I remember something similar about that when we played Halo 3 when you took me up to like rank 44.
Oh, I remember taking you up to rank 44. I started at rank 44. You started at rank 2. We played team doubles for basically 2 days straight without losing a single match. And
I had some of the worst games I'd ever played.
Yeah, you were coming out with like 2 kills a game, and you got to rank 45, and I got to rank 44 still. I didn't move forward at all. I don't know if that was an anti-boost thing or an anti-cheat or some nonsense. But there is one thing
I will say about those games though. Even though I was getting like 2 kills in a lot of those games, and it was at a time when I wasn't really into my gaming, wasn't it? If you remember.
If you're about to try and claim that you got lots of assists, you're lying.
I did get lots of assists.
I knew that's where that was good. To be fair, I'm not completely terrible. I got assists.
But I got very few deaths as well in each of them.
That's true. What's one of my favorite things about Halo is during a Halo match, if you're playing with a group of people that you know or a group of people that kind of trust you or know who you are, you're not the first person I've told to sit in a corner and win a match.
Like, exactly.
I remember I had a friend called Sam, and we're playing Halo Reach. We were playing the like remake of Ivory Tower. I can't remember what it's called now. But we were losing in a game of doubles. I was getting really, really annoyed at him because he was just dying like every 10 minutes. And we were sat in the same room, like on 2 different TVs. And I just remember turning to him, looking dead in the eye, and goes, "For God's sake, sit in the corner!" Bleeping out some words there. And I remember him like kind of just sheepishly walking down to the bottom of the map and like hiding in a corner. And he describes it as like just watching like the tides of battle turn, like the little like if you got your little blue team, red team thing. We were blue team at the time, and it was just ticking up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right to the 25. We won the game, and we were on to like 20, like it was like 20-2 or something like that at the time that he went and hid. But I remember that moment happening, and like he always refers to that moment now when he's talking about how good I am at that game or whatever. But I don't know if it was that I was good. I think he was just so terrible that he brought down like if there was an MMR back then. He just wasn't doing very well, and there is definitely like that kind of perception that someone's better than you if you're just having a bad game.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lost to people. I've been absolutely destroyed by people on Halo Reach, and then like 10 minutes later, matched them again and absolutely just walked all over them.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Sometimes you just find yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time, don't you? If you know what I mean.
You get bad games, don't you? I mean, everyone has a bad game every now and then, but that's all right though. It's not the end of the world.
In my latter years, I have bad games more often.
I don't, but I think it comes down to the fact that I just play games. Like, if there is such thing as living and breathing games, it's me. Like, I don't know anyone else that plays games as excessively as me.
I'm I'm gonna make a montage video for our channel, and it's just gonna be me dying all the time.
you constantly dying. I'm gonna make a montage
gonna
video
be-
every
it's gonna
time
be a
that I
collection.
tell you to sit in a corner.
It's going to be a collection of all these amazing kills, but none of them will be mine. It'll be these people killing me.
Fair enough. So
I'm not actually that bad, but I am.
Well, we've got a channel now, so people will be able to see if you're chatting shit. Like, I've sat here boasting about how good I am at games, so now every bit of gameplay that I post up is going to have to be immaculate gameplay.
Well, I've not boasted once.
Yeah, I know, but you've not got my ego.
I mean, if I pull Race Pro out of the dusty cover and stick Race Pro on, but the problem with that is no one's playing it anymore. That game's been dead longer than Henry VIII.
Well, we've moved on now, though, haven't we, with gaming? Like, we've reached this really weird state where the most popular games are all free to play, obviously, because there's no barrier to entry. And also, I just feel like I've bought 6 games this year. I imagine you bought even less because you're cheap. No, I'm joking.
Project Cars 3, wasn't it? And the only reason I bought that is because we got into that's kind of how the channel was born, wasn't it? Because we were talking about games that, like, we were looking for a game that resembled PGR 3. And there just wasn't anything, was there? We couldn't think of anything. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to download this Project Cars. I know it's."
I wouldn't have attributed that game to the birth of this channel. This channel has been 15 years in the making of dreams of, like, let's do it. And then I eventually just lost my temper waiting for you to tell me that the time was right and just did it. And here we are.
Yeah, but I mean, PGR 3 is probably what the birth of this channel is. Our time on PGR 3. Yeah,
it's PGR 3, Battlefield 2, and maybe Far Cry Instincts.
They're definitely the game. Yeah, Far Cry Instincts as well.
Like, basically any game that you can name from 2006, 2007 on the Xbox 360 that was semi-popular and had like half decent like online components would have been what it did. Because at the time we bought everything. Like, I can't think of a game that we didn't have.
No,
like off the top of my head. Like, I kind of keep that up. I buy almost every game. I'm always playing like whatever's not even just what's new, but like,
well,
I feel like I'm always buying something or other to play, or playing something new on Games Pass or something like.
Well, there's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because like at the time, you had the likes of our mutual friend and things like that. They bought Crackdown to get the Halo 3 beta. Whereas you and I bought Crackdown because we wanted something else to play.
I've been tracking Crackdown for ages because Crackdown was made by the original, well, at least it was advertised as made by the original designer of GTA, and I bought that based on that. That was one of the reasons I bought that.
Crackdown was such a great game. I loved that game.
It's such a silly wasted IP as well, because there's not much that you need to do to update it, and for some reason they just don't want to. Like, Crackdown 3 is a shadow of a shadow of a shadow of what that game could be. Crackdown 2 was a shadow of what Crackdown 1 was. They could do so much with this like kind of space in this game. It could have been Xbox's personal GTA game, like their actual exclusive version. And they just didn't. They just leave it to die and rot, and now they keep trying to bring it back in like these weird kind of hobbled states. Oh, yeah. There goes my dog's coughing. But yeah, they bring it back in like these really weird states, and I'm just kind of like, just take Crackdown 1 and make more of it. Like, literally just make more of it.
We used to make our own games. So you obviously had like the races and things you could do that on it and things like that. But do you remember we made the car football game?
Yeah, well, it was designed for that. Moving on. What do you think of like the new crossover with like Fall Guys and Halo doing a little crossover event there?
I downloaded Fall Guys tonight. But it's an interesting game.
It's Doritos Crash Course, but with like.
Well, I thought it was Fusion Frenzy, which then got me thinking: was there anything like that ever before Fusion Frenzy, any of those party type games before Fusion Frenzy.
What, you mean Mario Party?
Yeah, but what came first? Was it Mario Party or Fusion Frenzy?
I don't know, but I can find out for you. But I would assume Mario
Because
Party.
Fusion Frenzy was on the original Xbox. And that would have been about 2001.
Give me 2 seconds. Mario Party. Because, like, original was for the N64. So
Okay, so that's before the Xbox One then.
yeah, 98.
The Xbox original even, yeah.
98
Okay.
for Mario Party 3. I think that's Mario Party 3. Anyway, so yeah. But yeah, those kind of style of games. But no, Fusion Frenzy is more like, it's done more like a, not Fusion Frenzy, sorry. The thing that makes me think of Domino's Crash Course or whatever, or Doritos Crash
Domino's, Doritos.
Domino's. Can you imagine it? Just you delivering Domino's pizza. Yeah, that's what you're doing, just delivering Domino's. It's because it's set up like a TV show. And I think that's kind of how I would view Fall Guys. It feels a bit like a TV show. It even says start show.
Yeah.
I
like it. It's good. It's good. It's different. It's different, and I think we need something different in this day and age at the minute, with all the remasters and shit that we're getting.
There you go. There you go. Your family-friendly rating in a single sentence. But no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because everything's a remaster, which is really, really funny, given that we've got 3 videos on our channel, if you include this, and one of them is Oblivion needs a remaster. So I can't really slag off remasters too much.
No. I agree with that video, though. The Oblivion needs a remaster. Especially, like you said on the video, that with Skyrim getting 10
of them, yeah.
It's ridiculous. And then Last of Us, that's had, what, 3, 4 now?
It's having its second remake in 10 years. But like, if you count the original, that'll be its 3rd time being produced and made in 10 years and 9 years by the time it comes, because it comes out this year. Then the new one.
Yeah, and then we've had Halo CE got a remaster, Halo 2 got a remaster.
Yeah, but they didn't remaster Halo 3. And I know that the argument is that it kind of holds up today, but let's be honest.
It does hold up today to a certain extent. It's
the real reason they didn't remaster Halo 3 is because 343 couldn't stand to be shown up again by one of Bungie's prior creations. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And that's not me sucking off Bungie, because if anyone knows me, then they know that I'm actually like not Bungie's biggest fan. But their original trilogy of Halo games, maybe not Halo 1. You know what? Halo 1's not that good, right? I'm just gonna say it. It was good at its time, but my God, has that game aged? That game aged so badly in comparison. Even the anniversary edition does not play well. Like
it doesn't hold up, does it? No, it's movement and everything, and
I can play Halo 2 now, and I'm more than happy to play Halo 2. It just feels dated in visuals. Okay, and as a modern game, it plays well. Like, it's still got the lock-on with a melee. It's still got a really, really robust sandbox. It's got everything that I want from a game. Nothing feels floaty. Nothing feels like it shouldn't work. And then you come to, Halo 1, and your melees don't lock on. You've got this like weird thing where like you can just like, you'll be stood next to someone, you kind of punch the air and whatnot. Like, it didn't have any of the precision weapons outside of the pistol, and the pistol is kind of a fluke. Like, they've even openly accepted that. I think that it's one of the most well documented mistakes in history, the Halo 1 pistol. So yeah, like. Yeah, I don't know. Halo 1 doesn't hold up. It's not as good as people think. The fact that it spawned the franchise of Halo, I accept. But at the time, it was groundbreaking. I will always remember.
When I played it, in fact, I remember the moment I bought the game. So the Xbox had been out about a week, and I was trying to decide whether I still owned a Dreamcast at the time. Which
your favorite console of all time,
which was brilliant.
The people that played the Dreamcast loved the Dreamcast, and everyone that didn't bother with a Dreamcast, I kind of like, it doesn't matter.
Final 355 Challenge, Quake Arena, and Shenmue, like all the games I ever needed there. Even Sonic Adventure for a bit of Sonic fun on there as well. So I had a Dreamcast, and I was like, obviously the Dreamcast was dying. I was like, said to my mate, I said, I need a new console. I don't know whether to go PlayStation 2 or get this new Xbox that's coming out. And he went, oh, don't get the Xbox. I've heard that it's 32-bit, which at the time was right. It was 32-bit, but because it used its different graphics cards and stuff like that, it obviously gave you better graphics than what the PlayStation 2 had. So I went into game, and they had this game on demo in game, and I had to queue up 5 people, and I played the level Halo. I played it from the shuttle crash landing all the way up to when you first meet the Marines on the Halo, on the Halo structure. And I thought,
which is really, really short, by the way. That's like, if you think about it now, if you played that mission now, you'd get from there to there in about 2 minutes.
In minutes, yeah. And I got there, I was like, this game's amazing. All the drop pods are coming in and stuff like that, and not the drop pods, you've got the drop ships coming in and stuff like that, and you're there trying to cut them all off, and all these big massive elites that are matching you in terms of like skill at the time, and you're throwing sticky grenades on them, and you've got the grunts there with the squeaky voices that you're killing and stuff like that. I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
That's not to take away that the first time that you played Halo, because everyone else is the same. The first time they played Halo, especially the original, you didn't realize that pistol was the god weapon. You were running around with that assault rifle, but that pistol was sitting in your pocket.
What's this blue gun on the floor here? Oh, it's overheated.
Like the pink needler and stuff like that. And like
this little green gun, shit, chew. You didn't even know you had to charge your pistol up. And then I played it, and I said to my mate, right, come on, we're going to go back to my house now. And we got in the car, and I'm driving, and went, I've got to get one of those consoles. And I stopped at Curry's PC. Well, was it Curry's or PC? Curry's. I stopped at Curry's
now.
It's the same company now, but back then they were always next to each other. I think they were the same company now. And I went in and I said, I want one of these Xbox consoles. How much are they? And they were like £500 at the time. So this is going back to like 2001. £500 then was a lot of money. I was like,
2002 it would have been
2002.
Yeah, because the Xbox
it would have. Yeah. You're right.
In 2001, it didn't launch in the UK until 2002.
I was like,
such a fountain of knowledge.
So I said to the salesman, I said, how much is it? He said, oh, it's £350, and if you want a game with it, that's going to be £50, and then if you want an extra controller with it, that's another £50. So I ended up getting a package. It was like £450, £500 or something, where I got 2 extra controllers because it had 4 controller ports. I was like, whoa, 2 extra controllers, and I bought Halo with it, and I ended up getting finance on it. So I ended up paying about £650 for this Xbox because I had to get it on finance. And I got it home. Plugged it in, and that first night we played for 2 nights non-stop, 2 days non-stop.
But if you think about it, though, right, up until that point, you'd played computer games. You'd been playing computer games quite regularly. Mm-hmm. But if you hadn't have bought that Xbox, your entire life would be different. Like the friendships you've made, the connections that you've made, that Xbox has fundamentally affected many aspects of your life.
Oh, 100%.
In a way that, like, I don't think you can say the same about many other things. Do you know what I mean?
I got so hooked on gaming from the Xbox, I probably would have been a doctor now.
How many nights did you stay up playing Halo 2 and then go up to work and skip out of that promotion because you were just too tired to actually perform?
that's another thing. You know, it's ridiculous when I think back on it now. But that first year of Halo 2 coming out, or the first year of Halo 2 being on Xbox Live, that first 12 months of it being out on Xbox Live, I calculated that I played 1/12 of that year
Yeah,
was
a full
spent
month.
playing Halo. That's not including any other game I would have played. It was just a full month of that year was spent playing Halo. 30 days.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me though. Like I was, to put this in perspective, okay. I actually have it up right now. I was playing the Master Chief Collection. Here you go. Let me see. My time spent on the Master Chief Collection since 2014 or whenever it was for the launch. Sorry if you can hear that cycling through. I don't mean to. But my time spent playing that is 47 days, 21 hours, and 7 minutes. And I am not even the highest person on my friends list. I have a gentleman there, 421 days, 23 hours, and 45 minutes he spent on Halo's Master Chief Collection. And if I check right now, I guarantee he's online playing it.
But yours is 47 days.
Mine's 47 days on the MCC.
Yeah, and I spent 30 days in 12 months.
Yeah. But you got to remember that I also play everything, like literally everything.
Well, I was playing everything at the time. I had Rainbow Six 3. I was playing
PGR2.
PGR2. Forza. I was playing Forza at the time.
The original Forza Motorsport on the.
So I was playing other games as well. I even they dropped the price of the Xbox after about a month of it being released. And
I know that's. I probably picked it up not long after that myself. Oh,
Mr. Gates gave me an extra. Mr. Gates gave me an extra game and extra 2 games and a controller because they dropped the price by
4 controllers.
So I got 4 controllers, and that's where my LAN party started coming in.
Imagine having 4 friends nowadays.
At your house.
Yeah, exactly.
4 friends at your house.
I struggle to get 4 people together to play Halo Infinite, let alone getting 4 people in my house.
When we're honest, it then
4 people in my house, someone's getting married, someone's having a birthday, or someone has died. That's the only reason I'm having more than 1 person in my house at any given time.
Yeah. But off the back of that purchase, me buying the Xbox, my brother bought an Xbox, my best friend bought an Xbox.
Your partner
other people
bought
an Xbox. Yeah, that would have been a bit after. So then all of a sudden you end up with 4 Xboxes connected with wires going all around your house, and we're all playing LAN parties, and you don't get that anymore. But that time, that point of Halo, I did used to play video games and stuff, and I played them a lot, but that was the real point where
game.
Well, I think that was the point where I became a gamer.
Yeah,
Halo.
I don't know. Because I've always always excessively played video games. From probably about the age of 2, maybe 3. I played through all the Sonic games and all that kind of thing. When I went to school, all I did was talk about Sonic, talked about this, talked about that. Like video games has always been like one of the most important things going on in my life. So much so now that my 4-year-old daughter has already finished her first video game with the Paw Patrol game. Oh, what hard work that was. She did that last year before she turned 4, so she's extra props to her. Now she's going through Sonic, and she's playing Fall Guys. She actually really likes it. She has no idea what she's doing. She can do side scrolling fine. She really liked the TMNT Shredder's Revenge that just came out. She really likes that because she can be the blue one. She calls it Super Turtles. But yeah, so she really likes all these things, but she doesn't really have a concept of how to play most of them unless it's a side scroller, in which case she's completely on top of it. And it got me thinking about learning computer games. I feel like I know everything there is to know about computer games. And there's not many game mechanics that come out where I'm I don't understand this. I can pick it up relatively quickly without very much explanation.
Yeah.
But growing up in today's kind of world, playing video games, now, it must be so difficult for her, because not only does she have to instantly, before she can really learn how to play computer games, she has to learn how to use dual sticks. So she has to like learn to like multitask.
Yeah.
So that's the same mechanic, by the way, that they use to stop kids from getting into medicine, like the push down and twist, because they can't do two things at once. And now she has to learn to play these games by doing two things at once, like
That's a
long
good point,
before you
yeah.
even start killing her. So it got me to kind of thinking about like, how am I going to teach her? Because she's clearly interested in playing computer games. She wants to be her dad. So how do I teach her to play computer games in 2022, when the majority of games are either too violent, too graphical, or just too complicated? Even Minecraft, right? You pick up Minecraft now and you try and play Minecraft. Think about when you started playing Minecraft, right? before crafting, like before like not crafting, but like enchanting, leveling, different mobs, different like all these kind of different, all of that wasn't in the game. Like there was none of these like complex kind of systems. I say complex, they're not complex because you learnt them as you were going. When they came out, you were like, oh, well, this new update, and now I can enchant my armor. Oh, that was a weird noise. Yeah, new update, and now you can enchant your armor. And then kind of compare that to what you learned at the start and where you are now. Like, it's such a big leap. And I think that games only tend to add on to each other. In some ways, I saw a thing the other day that was like, oh, we need less retro games. I think we need more retro. I think we need more like, not necessarily like remakes like Sonic Origins or like collections like Sonic Origins, but stuff like Shredder's Revenge and like simplistic games like that. Something that you can kind of just very, very slowly to introduce that next generation. But they should make them more flashy. They should increase the graphics. Like they should, I want to see something with like the polish of Fortnite, but being shoved.
Do you know a game that did that really, really well? Which made it next gen, but kept that retro feel to it.
And
it was a free game on the 360.
Is it the Crash Course game?
Geometry Wars.
Yeah, Geometry Wars is great, actually. Geometry Wars is a great game. But again, it was twin sticks.
Was it twin sticks?
Yeah, it's a twin stick shooter. Like you moved with
it
left
was, yeah,
stick
because
and
left
with
stick
the right.
forward. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
But can you think of a game that really like you could just ignore the right stick? Something that you could put on a Mega Drive controller and still be able to play, or a NES controller.
Sonic's the standout one, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's because it was designed for that. I'm talking about like this is why like Turtles is so good, because it's effectively mash X, sometimes tap A, sometimes tap Y, and then move to the left stick. You don't need the right stick.
Racing games.
Yeah, okay. She enjoys Rocket League, but again, Rocket League does require both sticks because you need to track the ball a little bit.
I've just downloaded the Nickelodeon kart races actually for the kids, because it's the closest game to Mario Kart that you can get on the Xbox. Yeah.
I say you just buy a Switch and get it over and done with, personally.
But to be honest, the mechanics are exactly the same as Mario Kart.
Yeah, but so's Sonic All-Star Racing.
Sonic All-Star Racing is different. Sonic All-Star Racing feels different to Mario Kart.
I'm going to go out.
It's a lot faster, and it's a lot faster, and the tracks. Sonic All-Star Racing feels more like Wipeout.
I actually despise Mario Kart. Like it's one of those games that everyone also talks about. It's one of the greatest games ever made. Blah blah blah. What a great party game. Blah blah blah. I hate it. Like, in fact, I can probably count on one hand how many Nintendo games I actually do enjoy. I bought a Switch, and it's effectively just my retro Star Wars console. I spend more time playing like Knights of the Republic, Star Wars Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight 2, Clone. What's it called? Clone Commando. Like a first-person shooter, kind of similar to Rainbow Six.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Clone Commando. Anyway, but yeah, I spend more time playing stuff like that and like Star Wars pod racing on there than I do playing Mario Kart or anything like that. In fact, I spend more time playing Skyrim on there than I have anything else.
But with that said, it does give certainly me something to play with the kids. Because if I try and play Halo with one of the boys, they're just going to get destroyed. If I try to play it with one of the girls, they're just going to get destroyed,
There's the
aren't
boasting
they?
coming out now.
Well,
destroyed.
If I can't beat my kids, there's something seriously wrong, isn't there?
If it makes you feel any better, I can beat you in front of them just so that they can see what it's like to watch you lose.
But yeah, so I can't play them. I can't play Forza with them. I can't play my classic Race Pro from the 360 with them. I can't play any of it.
This is where it comes down to, like, I think it's couch co-op games.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would go for.
Mario Kart is a couch co-op game, and
no, it's competitive. Like, if I were to play with my daughter, then Turtles is the prime example, because we just tap A on another controller and I can be Donatello while she's running around as Leonardo.
Yeah, and this Nickelodeon Kart Races provides that for me. Fall Guys will now provide that for me as well.
I don't think that has a split screen, so you need multiple consoles.
Yeah, but we've got multiple consoles.
It's only a matter of time till that does split screen.
When you were saying about how many games you've bought in the last 6 months, I was trying to think then. And so aside from Project Cars, I think I got Rainbow Six Breakpoint, Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
I already had that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So I got that.
We did play that a lot of this year.
And
then I got some.
Other than that, I think I've actually bought more Xbox consoles since Game Pass has come out than I have
games.
Yeah, so I got myself an Xbox One S, then I got myself an Xbox One X, then I got myself a Series S because I couldn't get the Series X, and now I've got a Series X. Granted, I didn't pay that for myself, but since Game Pass has come out, I've bought 4 consoles, or 4 consoles have come through my ownership.
See, I'm slightly different. Obviously, we mostly use Xboxes in the house. They're just easier to link more than anything else. Like, to be able to like if I'm playing Halo Infinite, say in here, and then I go into the bedroom, I can pick up the controller and carry on playing Halo Infinite on a different console without much hassle. But cloud linking is just significantly better. And unlike PlayStation, you don't have to pay for it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have dug into PlayStation like that. But you know what I mean. It's 2022. Give me free cloud storage. Come on. Yeah, but then also I've got my PS4. I will buy a PS5. I intend on buying a PS5. I just haven't got there yet. It's really difficult to justify £450 on a console I don't want to play. Like, I can't think of anything on it that I really need to buy it for. I've already played Spider-Man, which was the game I bought my PS4 for, and I'd had a PS4 before that as well, and then sold it because I just didn't play it enough. And my Switch, I bought my Switch, and I regret buying my Switch. I keep buying Switches, and then I'm like, oh, this is such a great idea. Do you want to know how to make the Switch a great idea? Make it cross-play. Let me play, like, Crash Bandicoot up to a certain point, then get home, and then play it on my Xbox to finish it off, right? That's how you increase the Switch. And do you know what? Xbox solved that problem in cloud gaming. So I don't understand these people that can't see that Xbox is going to be eventually just going to take over gaming. Because of course they are. Like, they talk about monopolizing because they're looking at buying. They're talking about monopolizing because they're looking at buying Activision, but that's not the monopoly here. The monopoly is the fact that they have put it everywhere. You buy a Samsung TV, it comes with Games Pass built into it.
Well, I don't know if I can download it on mine, but my TV upstairs, my Samsung 4K upstairs, I think I can get it on it now.
Yeah,
Games Pass. So that means I've got a Xbox in the bedroom. I've got 2 in the girls' room. I've got 2 in the boys' room. And I've got 2 downstairs because I've got Kira's mine. So that means I've got 2, 4, 6. I've got access to 7 Xboxes in this household.
I've got 3 and my PC, which, let's be honest, at this point, there's no point of owning an Xbox if you've got a PC. Other than the convenience of being able to just click and play. You've got Series X. There is not going to be a single Xbox game that you can't just go beep, 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 download, play. Whereas if you're looking at like on the PC, you've got those kind of like mess up, like my Master Chief Collection on my PC crashes every like time that they do an update, and then I have to like uninstall it and reinstall it. Just because I'm not very good with PCs, I'm not gonna lie. But drivers and all these other nonsenses, like, yeah, it's just too much. Dog, please behave.
If there's anyone watching that wants to give us some advice on what PC I need to get iRacing working, R Factor 2, and all the Xbox games, then let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
So I can start saving.
I was thinking about buying a new Xbox. I thought I'd introduce the dog since we're here, and since he's misbehaving and making all that noise in the background, we might as well show him. Yeah, so we've
This is Blue Team Dog.
it's a blue team dog. He's a good boy, really. Just bored. So yeah, like when you're kind of looking at the different consoles and stuff that we own, I've always had everything. I can't think of a time that I haven't. I was a bit late on the PS3, but again, everyone was late on the PS3 because it had no reason to purchase it. The online didn't work for most of its life cycle.
Yeah.
And then the games that did work were all subpar to like the Xbox 360 versions. If Microsoft hadn't have Don Matrixed itself in 2013 with the Xbox One, I think we'd be looking at a very different gaming landscape. But I'm so glad that they did, because it's put them on the back foot, and the back foot has made them innovate with things like Games Pass and stuff.
Yeah.
So if not getting exclusives for a generation, and it was an entire generation where you got like 5 exclusives, like I've tried to defend it over the years, I'm not going to. You had Sea of Thieves, Halo 5, MCC, which didn't work for 4 years, Sunset Overdrive, Quantum Break,
Forza.
Yeah, and then that's it. Like Gears and Forza.
Gears.
But that is literally it. Like that's the whole of a generation console.
Wars 2.
What? Halo Wars 2.
Yeah.
It's still just Halo. Like either way, you know what I mean. Like from a generation of like put that into perspective of what the PlayStation 4 did achieve with its like obviously The Last of Us remake, which was their first kind of big exclusive, which was straight because The Last of Us 3 came out at the end of the PS3's life cycle. So when they said remake, or remastered, what they actually meant was now in 4K. I don't even know if it went 4K, it might have just gone full HD. But then they had that, you had kind of the introductions of like NAC, you had Horizon, whatever it was called. Not Forbidden West, the one before that, the God of War trilogy, like the God of War series, the Uncharted series, continuations of those, the Spider-Man games, they killed it, like from an exclusive standpoint. It's no wonder that they left that like sort of generation the clear victor. Like I love my Xbox, I really do, but I'm not going to pretend that it's not got its flaws. That being said, find me one first-party multiplayer game that's actually worth playing on the Xbox. Oh, dog's disco legging.
That being said, what?
Sorry, find one first-party game worth playing on the PlayStation.
I couldn't tell you any.
Like from like multiplayer standpoint.
I really couldn't tell you any.
Because the story standpoint and stuff, I can see that. Like The Last of Us was a story game. Like I can see why people would play it. The Uncharted games are fantastic. They're effectively just third-person Call of Duty.
Without coming across as an Xbox fanboy, because
you are.
I probably am an Xbox fanboy. Well, yeah, I am an Xbox fanboy.
I'm a bit of an Xbox fanboy, but I'm not going to claim to be one because I do play everything.
But I see the trailers for the PlayStation, and I've never ever seen a PlayStation trailer or anything like that makes me go, I want that game, and I'll go out and buy a console for it. Not one.
I did. It's called Spider-Man, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, but you like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You like Spider-Man anyway. If
I didn't have the connection to Spider-Man, if they'd done it with the Arkham games.
There's one that's done it. There is one that's done it.
Okay.
it was the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah, but it's not even supposed to be exclusive. That's like a timed exclusive. We are supposed to get that on the Xbox.
I know we are supposed to, but
supposed to.
It's not coming, and that's the only one that's made me think.
It is coming, right? I've seen a lot of people talking about this recently because obviously Square Enix held this conference at the start of the month. And I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, they've still not announced it coming to Xbox. I guess we just don't like Xbox anymore, blah, 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 blah. You are getting that game, but you're not going to get that game until the game's complete. So what they're going to do is, because they've split it into 2 parts, and obviously the second part's coming out on PlayStation relatively soon. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to come to Xbox, but it's going to come to Xbox as a complete package.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to do it. And they're going to do it, and they're going to call it the Final Fantasy Complete Edition or something along those lines. And that's when it will launch on Xbox. If you're willing to wait for it, if you care enough to wait for it, then cool. Personally, I've never been a Final Fantasy fan.
To be honest with you, the way I scratch my itch of it is I just downloaded the original and played the original.
And then you play it for like half an hour or whatever, and it's like, yep, okay, done.
No, I played it, boxed it off.
I wouldn't have wasted my time personally, but I'm not a Final Fantasy fan.
I've replayed that game probably about 12 times now over the years. It was a big thing when I was in high school. A big.
I remember it being a big thing when I was in like primary school because the age gap between us would make it the same time period. But yeah, I remember it being a massive thing. I think also my brother is like 4 years older than me, so he would have like his friends were into it, and that kind of brought it into my sphere a little bit more. I also grew up in a small village, so like you didn't have that kind of like, oh, they're the older kids, these are the younger kids. They were just, these are the kids of the village.
That was the first game I remember of being like, wow, everybody wants this. Everybody wants this game. That and GTA, but I think they came around a similar time, to be honest. But like, Final Fantasy was probably the Halo 3 of the time in terms of its its outreach to everybody.
What was my biggest PS1 game? I mean,
Destruction Derby.
Not to sound cliche, but probably Spider-Man. It's a vicious cycle. This like Metal Gear Solid and stuff. I really loved. Tomb Raider games as well. I remember them being a massive deal. Crash Bandicoot, Wipeout. The truth is, like, growing up through gaming and stuff like that, like, I've played everything. And like now, like it's good enough a segue point. Like, so now I'm like, what are you looking forward to for the end of the year? Like, we've got till end of 2022, and I know that you don't tend to follow your gaming news as closely as you probably should if you're going to start a gaming YouTube channel, but that's right, I'm calling you out. What's what are you looking forward to before the end of the year?
Honestly, but it's not going to happen. I want Halo Infinite to be fixed. That's my only want.
I think it's an interesting state that we've reached where it's not actually games that we look forward to anymore. It's updates to games.
Yeah. No, actually, Forza.
That's
Forza Motorsport.
They announced that's next year.
Oh, it is. It's March, isn't it? Actually, next year, isn't it? That's fucking.
There's 2 games. Well, if we're gonna go off,
I'm trying to think back to the Microsoft press conference now. Actually,
almost
Microsoft Bethesda conference. I mean, it's getting slated a lot recently, and I know it's not coming out this year, but Starfield's got to be something to be looking forward to in the future. But a lot of people seem to be slagging that off left, right, and centre in a minute. Because it looks.
Evil 4 remake this year supposed to be coming out, or is it coming out next year? Because the Resident Evil remakes, like Resident Evil 2 remake, was fantastic.
I think Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes were brilliant.
Yeah. So they're doing the same with Resident Evil 4, but when's that supposed to launch?
I think it's this year because Hidden Experience just done something on it.
2 seconds. Let's have a look. See. Resi 4 remake. No, March 2023. No, my kind of is it High on Life, the one made by the creators of or the minds behind what do you call it? Rick and Morty, where the guns like talk to you.
Yeah.
That's coming out this year. I'm kind of excited for that. That's coming on Games Pass. I'm not going to be ashamed of this. I've already pre-ordered my Modern Warfare 2. Say what you want, but at least I know what I'm getting. Like, and in a general, like in a year that has no real kind of games coming out, especially on the Xbox.
Yeah, it's been a funny year, hasn't it? Actually.
But that being said, I think this is the final year of like the knock-on of COVID. I don't know if that makes sense, but like because of the sort of cycle of game development being roughly 4 years, 4 years, this is going to be the year where we're basically getting all the. You had Halo Infinite that was basically built during COVID. If you like look into it, like the whole game was constructed from like 2018-ish, end of 2018 to launch in the end of 2021. No, 2019. Cool.
It was supposed to launch in
2020.
2020, wasn't it?
But it was never going to hit 2020. But it was supposed to hit the end of 2020, and then it hit a year later.
I don't even think it would have, without COVID. I don't think it would have.
Honestly, I got to imagine that somebody at Microsoft eventually said, "Right, you've wasted enough money. Get out the door." Someone had to have done something, because there's no way that game launched with people being proud of it.
No.
You know, I know that you're a fan of this campaign and stuff. You like what they've done with it. I don't necessarily agree with you, but the whole thing just feels really shallow to me. Like it is an ocean wide and a puddle deep. Like that's the best way to describe that game.
Yeah.
The multiplayer launched in what I could only describe as like a beta format. The amount of maps there, I've built more maps in a single day using Forge in past Halo games than that game launched with. And they're saying now that Forge has been ready and working for 2 years. Like there's a capacity of Forge that's been working for the last 2 years. Like they've been playtesting it for 2 years. If they've been playtesting it for 2 years, where are the maps? So you cannot tell me that you've been building all these maps and working away and getting all these community members involved and then done nothing with them. They should be out every month, like a new Forge map. Sure, don't make Forge readily available, but make the maps that you're making in Forge available to us. I'm not a game developer. Like I'm an armchair developer at best. But come on, some common sense. You cannot launch a free-to-play game, you know, now coming up against things like Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, Fortnite, even Fall Guys. You know, all of these games, League of Legends, you know, you name it, they're all there shouting for your attention constantly, right?
Yeah.
You can't make Halo Infinite come out in 2021 with nothing to entice players, a battle pass, which even in season 2 I finished in 4 weeks. I love the game. I do love the game. You know, I don't want to be that person that just keeps talking about the core. Yeah, we get it. The core of the game is pretty solid, except for the desync and all the other issues. And then they came out the other day saying that desync is one of their #1 priorities, but the team that's supposed to be working on it has been moved to other things. Like,
yeah, they've moved them on to campaign.
Yeah, but why? Right? I'm not playing through that campaign again. Like that campaign can come.
Co-op campaign.
Okay, cool. Right. So the co-op campaign, outside of maybe making something for this channel, right? I'm not doing it. The boat has sailed for co-op campaign. I love Halo. I've played through all the campaigns hundreds of times. I mean, me and you we used to do almost yearly every campaign.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that on Infinite. The campaign wasn't interesting to me. Like maybe do it once, maybe twice, you know, just so that I can say that I've done it with like a couple of friends. I've got some friends that tend to use me to carry them through on Legendary when they're struggling. So I'll probably end up doing it with them. But I'm not doing. And then, as I said, I might do it for some content with you, like just some of the silly stuff you can pull off, like experimenting with a sandboxing court.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a bit of a play on it. A bare minimum.
Yeah, but I mean, but what I'm saying is, I'm not excited for it. I'm not looking forward to it. Like, if you can fix your game, like that can wait. It shouldn't have launched without it in the first place, right? But if you're going to launch without it, then just make everyone wait. Just leave them to it.
I've seen a couple of other YouTubers saying like, when season 3 comes out, they should use that as an opportunity to do a relaunch.
Yeah,
just relaunch the game.
You can't relaunch the game. The bad stain is out there. There's been games that have recovered, but you can't relaunch that game. I mean, like look at like No Man's Sky. Even to this day, right? No Man's Sky is now exactly what it said it would be when it launched.
Yeah,
but it will always have the cloud of that crappy launch. Like you just can't get rid of it. Halo Infinite is going to be the same. You can relaunch it if you want to. You can try and relaunch it, but the way that like games have recovered in the past, like they tend to switch to a free-to-play model to bring in more players, like to try and boost it up. It's already free-to-play, so they're not doing that. They can't suddenly flood it with content because, quite frankly, they've proven they can't make that much content. And you can't just relaunch a game. Like,
no, I don't mean relaunch it in terms of that, but like.
But what I mean is like 343 have spent since roughly 2014, maybe before if you want to include Halo 4 in that. But roughly since 2014, damaging the Halo franchise.
Yeah.
So I love Halo, I really do. I mean, like Halo Infinite, like everywhere. I do, but it's just not happening. I want to see it happen, and I'd love to see it happen. And I'm not saying it won't give back some players, but Halo Infinite launched at the time when Call of Duty flopped and Battlefield flopped. It was a guaranteed goal. They've missed an open goal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They've missed an open goal when the goalposts were 5 miles apart, and they've still somehow managed to go past it. I don't understand. I don't understand how you can mess it up that badly. They'd have been better off to have released just the multiplayer, kept the campaign back, done just the multiplayer and focused on it for a full year, consistent updates, focusing on the multiplayer, keep campaigns just running away smoothly in the background, working on it and tweaking it, doing this, get a lot more focus onto the multiplayer, almost make 2 teams.
Yeah.
They've now got Bethesda on like within Microsoft. Like that was announced before the release of Infinite. That the Bethesda deal was going through. So now you've got all those developers that work on Doom and stuff like that. I'm sure that if you borrowed some of them and kind of collaborated that a little bit, you get what I'm saying? Like they could have come in and just kind of been like, right, well, we're gonna design some maps. They both make arena shooters.
Yeah.
It can't be that difficult, especially with the most boring design of maps that Halo Infinite goes for, where everything is just 3 lanes. Like
don't. It's so frustrating.
If you compare it to what you consider to be great maps, like Turf, for example, that doesn't have that 3 lane thing. It's like a big intersection, like crossroad kind of nonsense. It's a square with a cross in the middle.
Yeah,
kind of. Which I guess is kind of 3 lanes.
It kind of has the 3 lanes.
But then they break up the 3 lanes by adding like height,
verticality.
Same with, I mean, all of their maps are effectively 3 lanes if you think about it, but they're not. Like Lockout's a figure of 8.
Yeah.
Just the thing that makes Halo work has always been its size, like the scale of the maps, not knowing where you're going to get attacked from. If you walk through the middle of a map on, say, Halo 2, you can be shot. Oh, twice in one go. That was a good catch.
I'd put them on the floor for the rest of the video. And next week, don't get too excited.
It's my swinging my hands about. You know what? That'll do for now. Yeah. So the whole like whichever direction you're coming from and stuff, you can't always control where you're going to get shot from. But on Halo Infinite, you can, because on Halo Infinite, they only ever come one way. It's always directly in front of you. There's not very many cross paths, with the exception of Recharge, which is also the best map in Halo Infinite. So kind of sums that up.
Yeah, by a long way.
Right. Anyway, without meaning to end the show early, okay. I think it's time to kind of segue towards an end.
Well, I've just finished my cup of tea, so I think that's a really good time to end because I can make a fresh brew now.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was the first ever Peave and Cronnie show. Here we come.
I thought it went quite well. I was quite.
Minus being attacked by a wall.
Mine has been attacked by the wall, and considering I've got hay fever 10.3 today.
But yeah, so this is hopefully going to be a weekly show.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have a bit more structure next time around because we're going to be talking more about the gaming and media news from the week. This was more of an introductory show to just so you could get a feel of how we are more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of our dynamic. Yeah, because that's how this works. That being said, with all of do you know what? I haven't realized how many times I say that being said until I started writing scripts for videos.
That being said,
that being said, I'm just one person, and this is just my opinion. Yeah, no, sorry. If you can't make fun of yourself, then you know you're never going to survive the internet, right?
Exactly.
So yeah. Moving forward, we're going to be looking at like other kind of what's happening currently. If there is a massive event like the purchase of Activision, for example, with Xbox, we're going to have no choice but to get on here and just hash it out.
Just do a live, yeah, and
because that's just how that's going to work. I don't know if I'm going to include all of this in this podcast, by the way. I may trim because we're also talking about what our content's going to be in the future. But yeah. So yeah. Are you ready for it?
What? You're gonna sing it?
Should I sing it? The Peave and Cronnie Show. That's my trumpet because of how much I do. Anyway, and on that note, I have been Peave.
I've been Cronnie.
You guys have been awesome. We're done.
Goodbye.